What's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale, and it's going to be a good one for you guys today. We're going to talk about the 7 most broken, most disgustingly OP cards in the history of Clash Royale. That means in beta all the way up until today. It's going to be a good video, and I asked your opinion as well in the community tab, so I'll include some community responses, some subscriber responses at the end of this video and see what you guys think. But let's go ahead and start this list with number 7. And it's going to be Expo. The original Expo introduced to the game in beta with the original cards was incredibly strong, but at first it actually targeted air cards. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember, but Expo targeted both ground and air in beta. Now they changed that quickly, and right after they changed that, that's when Expo truly became OP, because it didn't target air anymore, which is actually really good for Expo users because it wasn't as easy to distract it. Now, you might be saying, Ash, right now the Expo doesn't target air either. Who cares? Well, back then, guys, the range was an insane 13.5 tiles. That is absolutely crazy. They later nerfed it down to 12, and they fixed a bug which gave it that extra half tile radius. So the big nerf to the range, and also it later saw a nerf to the deployment time. The original deployment time on the Expo was 3 seconds. They later changed it to 5, and then they adjusted the stats, the DPS, and the lifetime from there. But originally, Expo was a devastating card in the original beta of Clash Royale. Next on the list is going to be the Inferno Tower. We're talking early 2016 again here, guys. The original Inferno Tower was so incredibly strong. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but it originally lasted a full minute, not 40 seconds where it is right now, a full 60 seconds on the arena, and it also retargeted in half the time that it now does. So double the retargeting time. It lasted an additional 20 seconds, almost double the lifespan. But that's not it. It also had 6% more HP than it currently does. But that's not it. In May of 2016, they fixed a range bug on the Inferno Tower, which gave it an amazing 6.5 tile range. Really, really crazy card way back in its day. So next on the list is going to be everybody's favorite over-leveled disgusting card. That's right, it's the Elite Barbarians. Originally introduced to the game in November of 2016, and they weren't very strong. They were pretty underwhelming. Nobody really loved the card, but the next buff absolutely rocked the game. They received an unprecedented buff in December of 2016. They had an HP increase of 19%. Incredible. A damage increase of 14%, and a hit speed reduction or a buff. They swung faster from 1.5 to 1.4 seconds. Now, since that day, they've been nerfed twice again, 2 pretty substantial nerfs. But between that time, before they got nerfed again, the Elite Barbarians were not only the most troublesome card to deal with for free-to-play players on ladder, or for anybody really on ladder, but they were also just the most troublesome card in the entire game. They were that strong for that small period of time between that huge nerf, that huge buff, and the subsequent nerf. Next on the list is Poison. Now, Poison was so strong upon its implementation into the game. It dominated the game, and it basically built an entire, really frustratingly annoying OP archetype. Poison. Everybody in that 4 or 5 month period used Giant, Mini P.E.K.K.A, and Poison together. As a matter of fact, it appeared in 14 of the 16 decks in the Shanghai tournament. It was really strong, and not just because of the power of the spell introduced to the game. It was because every troop in the Poison's radius received the slow effect on top of all the damage that the spell dealt. It was incredibly strong because of that debuff ability, slowing all the targets, all the troops in its radius. Man, Poison is already a good spell right now, but imagine if it slowed everything in its radius as well. Poison was truly an OP and amazing card back in its day. Next up, we have the Night Witch. Now, Night Witch was introduced in March of 2017, and it immediately became the strongest legendary in the game. At the time of its release, no other card was as strong upon its inception to the game as the Night Witch was. She originally spawned 4 bats upon her death, not 2. She had 5-second bat spawns instead of now 7, where it stands in the game right now, and she had instant bat spawns upon her entry into the arena. There was a ton of bats providing tons of value. You were guaranteed 6 bats even if she died immediately upon entering the arena. 4 upon the death and 2 upon the placing down in the arena. That is value, guys. Night Witch was in every single archetype, but that's not all, guys. She also dealt 9% more damage than she does now upon her inception to the game. She also had an 11% farther reach on her melee attack. At the time she was added to the game, there was only one card as good as her in the melee as far as the range. That's the Prince. That's right, the Night Witch's staff had the same range as the Prince's lance. Those were the two longest ranges for melee cards at the time. This was all upon her being added to the game. Needless to say, she was incredibly OP and incredibly broken. She was not just used in golem decks as she is now. She was used in really every deck at the time. That's why Night Witch certainly makes my list of the most OP cards in Clash Royale history. Alright guys, we're getting closer to the present day now. The next on the list is going to be Royal Ghost. Royal Ghost was so strong upon his introduction to the game as well. He did splash damage, he had invisibility, he had a lot of hit points, he did a decent amount of DPS, he was unstoppable and unique in a really cool card, but he was just so strong. As a matter of fact, the invisibility, which made him so unique as a legendary card, the invisibility was actually, he turned invisible on his introduction to the game in less than half the time that he does now. So right now, he'll turn invisible after 1.6 seconds. When he was introduced to the game, he would turn invisible after 0.7 seconds. Incredible, but not only that, he also received a damage nerf. So originally, he had 6% more damage dealt per swing, and his hit speed was actually faster than it is right now, making him a very effective unit, very versatile unit, and let's face it, a very OP unit added to the game. Royal Ghost definitely belongs on this list as the top 7 most OP cards in the history of Clash Royale. And last but certainly not least, guys, you know where I'm gonna go with this one. That's right, it's Royal Recruits. Royal Recruits has, to this day, received the biggest nerf in Clash Royale history. That's right, when they were introduced to the game just a month or 2 ago now, they originally cost 6 elixir, spawning 6 guard-like troops, beefed up guard-like troops, that took up the entire horizontal side of the arena and marched into your enemy's territory, providing a ton of value, making a spot for them in literally every single archetype. We saw Expo Royal Recruit decks. We saw Bait Royal Recruit decks. 3 Musketeer Royal Recruit decks. Heck, we even saw Beatdown with Royal Recruits. They were everywhere, and they were incredibly strong. They went from the #1 both use rate and win percentage rate card in the entire game, or troop card in the entire game, to the last, and that's where they stand to this day. So I'll leave you guys with this. Will they buff the Royal Recruits? Will they make them a happy medium 7 elixir, or will they let them die into oblivion? Alright guys, I've given my opinion on the 7 strongest cards in the history of Clash Royale. Now it's time to hear from you guys. Alright, so checking in with you guys. First, we have Brius Rock says, hello! First Day Executioner should be on there for sure, and maybe you are right. First Day Exy was indeed very strong, and that was mainly because of a bug that caused him to hit units even behind him. You remember that, guys? Executioner was certainly OP. Next up, we have Simone Manfredini. He says, Gob Gang, man, it has one more stab gob than the regular goblins, and each of them were so much more stronger than goblins goblins we have now, and the fact that the card is still used should tell you how strong it was upon the release. So a vote for Goblin Gang. We have Little Diesel says definitely Royal Giant back in the day. Oh, the early days of Royal Giant. It's Critical says Mega Minion was so powerful before all its nerfs, and it still is, just not as dominant as it was in my opinion. That's a good point there. Mega Minion used to be really strong when it was introduced to the game. Could have easily made the list. We have Amir R says, y'all sleeping on Ewiz, busted in its prime. Another good point. There's a lot of good cards, you know, throughout the history of Clash Royale. There's been a lot of OP cards. And then we have Reverse Flash says, Ice Golem OP, hashtag kiting. Ice Golem really great. And then, of course, El Ain says, credit card. Let's be real, that probably should have been the first card on the list, guys. I apologize, but it's too late to redo it now. I've already edited the video. And then Justin says, y'all forgetting about Zap. That's a really, really good one. You can see 64 upvotes, too. Back when Zap, early on in the game, like Expo and Inferno Tower at the beginning of this episode, Zap actually stunned its target, as well as reset it, as well as did damage. So Zap was incredibly strong and versatile early on. These are the days before Log, where basically every deck had Zap. And then last but not least, Mr. Nick at Night. How you doing, Nick? He says Night Witch. So, guys, I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, taking a break from the norm, always trying to switch up the content here. Let me know which card you think I forgot, and thank you to all of you guys for submitting your opinions on my community tab. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Guys, thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.